can international arbitration settle this territorial dispute? At least some say no.
I mean, it's been very much a political gesture on behalf of the Philippines to isolate China and manoeuvre China into a situation where, by failing to respond to the case, it's attracting some criticism around the world. And I think that hasn't helped regional stability.
Professor Bateman says the arbitration has delayed cooperation in the South China Sea.
We really need cooperation in the South China Sea for managing the resources, particularly fish, protecting the marine environment, providing safety services, and that cooperation at present is lacking. Now, unfortunately, one of the unfortunate consequences of the Philippine case is it's delayed the process. It's put a bit of a stopper on that cooperation.
Part of the China-Philippine dispute in the South China Sea is Huangyan Island. The Philippines began to challenge China's sovereignty over the island in the 1990s. Some scholars say part of the motive, besides natural resources, is geopolitical.
By controlling Huangyan Island, one can control the central area of the South China Sea and the major sea route to Asia economies. The U.S. saw its important strategic position, so did the Philippines.
In this regard, some scholars even question the tribunal's objectivity.
The tribunal is operating in a context where the United States and its Western allies and its support for the Philippines and also Vietnam relies upon these factors which I've mentioned, which disadvantage China. Firstly, that modern international law doesn't recognize the significance of private activity in grounding ownership by a nation of islands, so that the activity of the Chinese fishermen and cartographers and navigators would not count in a tribunal action. And secondly, the tribunal will be inclined to ignore the fact that China has been displaced from these islands during its difficult time of the century of humiliation which China has suffered.
Given the complexity of the dispute, a better solution, experts say, is to shelve differences and seek common development. China has insisted that the South China Sea dispute be resolved through direct talks. From a Chinese perspective, international judicial mechanisms will not necessarily help mediate, much less resolve the tension. So while the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea has played an important role in promoting maritime cooperation in the past, it may not help solve this territorial dispute. 吴国秀 CCTV 北京